Hey, everybody, it's Dave, and I am here. It's 3 o'clock. That means it's mule and donkey time. Where is Steve Edwards? Well, the man, the myth, the legend, the mule man himself, Steve Edwards, is on his way right now to hook up his computer so he can be here for you and our weekly mule and donkey program. Yeah, Steve's traveling this week, and he sent me a couple really cool pictures of what he's doing. And when he gets here, we'll let him go ahead and share. But if this is your first time ever hanging out with us, welcome. I want to say it's good to have you here. Again, my name's Dave, and every week we get together this time on Tuesdays. It's 3 o'clock Arizona time on Tuesdays to talk about mule and donkeys. There's really only three things that you need to know about this program. And the first is that we want to know that you're here. Please share your name, where you're watching from, and what the weather is like, because we want to say hello. We want to know that you're here. We want to hear what's going on with you, and we want to see you each and every week. And that's the first thing. Share your name, where you're watching from, and what the weather is like. The second thing that we ask is that you take a moment to ask any and every mule or donkey question that you have. Over the years, we've answered thousands of questions. And one of the things that I've found is folks often feel like, oh, they've probably already answered that. Or folks will feel like, oh, this is probably too stupid of a question. Or this question is too simple. Or I'll bet somebody else will ask it. In the words of Steve Edwards, wrong answer. No siree. There is no question that is too simple. There is no question that we've answered too many times. There's no question that is off limits. If you're talking mules and donkeys, we're talking questions answered. That's exactly what we do here. And here's why I really appreciate that. Me, I was not born on the ranch. I was not born a cowboy. Still am not a cowboy. But I have spent almost 2 decades with Steve Edwards. And just asking questions has opened up an entirely new world to me, because one question will beget another question, and before you know it, that first question that you asked, you're 6 questions deep, and your knowledge is just expanding and growing, and all of a sudden you're able to put the pieces together, and you go out into the corral, you go out on the trail, you go out into their pen, and it just makes sense to you. Everything gets put together and it just makes sense and you get results. So don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Ask any and every question that you got. I'm doing my best to answer them. And of course, if I'm not sure, Steve definitely has an answer. Occasionally, I guess there's things that we've never been asked before, never thought about. That pops up from time to time. And if there's something that we don't know, we'll tell you we don't know. So ask any and every mule or donkey question that you got, and we'll be happy to answer. And the third thing that we ask is that you share this broadcast with friends and family. Let them know that there is a place where they can talk mules and donkeys every single week for a full hour. This is the only place I know on the entire internet where it's weekly. It happens 4 or 5 times a month. It's live. It's free. Did you hear that? Free. Let me get the little the free sound here. Where'd it go? Not this. There it is, right there. Free. Let me know, Lord. Let those friends know that they can come hang out. And the way you do that is you tag them in the comment section, or you can send them a link to the URL. You can share this on your feed, on your page. And if you're on YouTube or Facebook, you can hit that subscribe button that lets the algorithms know, hey, this is pretty good stuff here. Let's show some other people. So we're still waiting for Steve to come in. And while we're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and say hello to our friends who are here. Cowboy Ken is here, 70 degrees, sunny in Connecticut. Sherman Johnson, Johnson Taxidermy, Norman, Oklahoma, 82 degrees. Sherman, I got a question for you. So your screen name is Johnson Taxidermy. Is that like a side gig, a side hustle that you do, or is that like a full-time gig? That'd be fun. Steve actually, you might be interested in what Steve's been doing this week. So that's fun, but let me know on that. Hey, Theodore is here from Potosi, Missouri. It's a beautiful day. Hannah is here from Dunalin, Florida. 89 degrees. Thank you for information and reminders during the week. You got it. You got it, Hannah. Does Rose know that you're watching from her account? Dave O'Brien says, Dave from Iowa Park, you do a great job. 85 degrees and breezy. Enjoy that breeze. Tim is watching from Montana, 45 with rain shower. Paulie is watching from Barnesville, Minnesota, 63 and windy. Go ahead, get your questions in there. And even if you don't have a question this week, share an update on what you've been working on or what you have coming up. Do you have any trails coming up that you're excited about riding? Any vacation plans? Steve was in Alabama. Steve was in Tennessee a couple weeks ago. I think Steve's in Montana this week. Superior, Montana. I think that's where he is. When he gets in here and joins us, we'll ask him. The first question that I want to answer this week, I thought we answered this last week. I thought I put in the answer to the comment section, and I don't think I did. We had a question come in on YouTube from Wagner's Farm. Wagner's Farm had several different questions that came in, but I have a donkey that's really spooky and wild. How do I educate her to the touch? Another question. I love my mule mentor, but now I have a donkey that is spooky and like to educate to the touch. And then another question. Help me with my wild donkey. And I promise, I thought we answered this last week, and I am so sorry. I may have typed it all in and just not hit reply. That happens from time to time. We're all on the tech struggle bus. But I want to answer this for you first and foremost. And if anybody watching, if you've got any tips, if you've got any things that have worked for you when it comes to interacting with a wild donkey, go ahead and share and I'll read those out loud. But here is what Steve and I have talked about. First and foremost, you need to have that wild donkey not out at pasture, not out roaming the fields. You want to have your equine inside of a 10 by 20 stall. There's a lot of reasons for that. The first reason is when they're out at pasture, you're going to hear Steve say this, they don't need you. They have everything they need. They've got all that food. If you've got buddies out there, they're out there with their buddies. They don't need you for anything. Why would they want you to come and get them and take them away from their buddies, take them away from that free feed, take them away from everything that they have that they need? So first and foremost, they don't need you. The second thing is that they are always establishing a pecking order. They are herd animals. And even if they're out there by themselves, they are working on establishing that pecking order with them on top and you on bottom. So get them out of pasture. Put them in a 10 by 20 stall. You make them dependent upon you for everything. This is the first step, first foundational step. If you can't get them, if they're hard to catch out there, if they're not coming to you, you can use a treat. We don't really use treats a whole lot, but you can use a treat to have them come to you. Or you can use some temporary fencing to kind of fence them in and capture them that way. But once you get them into a stall, if they're sensitive to the touch, there's a few things that you can do. Number one, after you get them into a stall, you want the come-along rope and you want to get that on them, but maybe they're not going to let you do that. So you walk into that stall and you want them paying attention 100% to you. Now, if they start to look away, you make some noise. You get them coming back to you. Oh, hey, Steve's calling right now. Let's see what he has to say. All right, I'll get back to this. Hey, Steve. Okay, I'm answering the questions. Steve says hi, everybody. I'm answering the questions. He's getting that computer going. We'll see you in a few minutes. Steve, I'm trying to do the program here. All right, we'll see you in a few. Bye. All right, he's coming on. Dadgummit had a dead battery. Okay, so you make noise. Get them to pay attention to you. Because what's happening is when they're off looking at anywhere else, they're not paying attention to you. You want their eyes on you. So you make noise. And you get them looking at you. And if they start to walk off, you make a whole bunch of noise. This is where Steve goes, hey, Mule, get out of here, Mule. And they're like, what? What's going on? And so they're looking at you. And you'll see them. You'll see that body language. The ears, they'll go all over. Ears get pinned back, or ears are moving around. Visiting hours are off. Back on you, visiting hours are on. You don't approach them from the front. You approach them from the shoulder. So when those ears, when they're looking at you, take a step forward, get closer, and then all of a sudden, they start to take their attention off. You start to make them uncomfortable again. And so you do this over and over and over until they realize, Mule, the only place you're going to be comfortable is standing, looking at me. I'm going to make you uncomfortable if you do anything but this. So then, once you get them to pay attention and get them to be still, and you start approaching from the shoulder, if you start to try and touch them and they're weary of your touch, that's why you've got the come along rope there. You see, one of the things I didn't get, and folks watching will tell you this, one of the things that I didn't understand is that the mule, that the donkey, the horse, they don't see the come along rope as, oh, there's Dave over there. Oh, Dave's got a rope. They don't see that. They see the come along rope as an extension of you. Now, I can only reach my hand out so far. Hey, I think here he's coming right now. All right, let's see if we can get him on here. Dun, 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 dun. Hey, there he is. There he is. Okay. Hold on there, Steve. I'm answering someone's question here. They're going to see the come along rope as an extension of you. And your hand, your arm will only go out so far. But you can take that come along rope and you can toss it over their back. And you can get that come along rope to places that they wouldn't let you go. And so you get comfortable with that, or they get comfortable with that, and you kind of move it all over their back and you let them feel it. You can use a quirk, and you could use a quirk to touch them all over their back, run it along their hips, around their rear, down their legs. You get them used to the touch, you staying far away, but using these tools as an extension. And as they're less and less jittery, as they're less and less spooked by it, then you can get to the point where, again, you're approaching from the shoulder and you can get that come along rope over the neck, install it around the nose, and now you've got yourself some direct communication. Now, obviously, that's a short answer here. That's a 5-minute answer, step by step. But you do that 3 times, 6 times, 9 times, 12 times, and if at any point they start to revert, regress, go back, you start back over, you move back, and then you train them all over again that the only place you're going to be comfortable is still here, paying attention to me. And then you work yourself back up, and eventually, over time, you'll get to the point where you can put that come along rope around and start communicating directly. Okay, so there we go. That's the show for today, folks. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, Steve, how's it going?
Good job.
All right. So there was a question, how to help me with my wild donkey who's spooky to the touch. And I said, I thought we answered this last week, but she asked it again. So I was like, well, I'll go ahead and I'll make that our first question this afternoon here. But hey, I told folks right out the get-go, I said, Steve is traveling this week. He's working hard. He sent me a couple cool photos. Why don't you tell the people where you're at, what you're doing, and then tell me when you want me to share those special photos.
That's right. Working really hard. Yes, sirree. I'm up here in Superior, Montana. Oh, man, it's beautiful out here. You cannot believe they got these things that are real tall, and they call them trees. They don't have any stickers on them like we got in Arizona, and they're real tall. Matter of fact, they call them pine trees and ponderosa pines. It's cool. And then they got this green grass stuff all over the ground. Man, it's amazing. We've been having a good time. I'm up here with a friend of mine, Richard Stitt, and it's been a lot of fun. I just met a new cowboy here that I'm just proud the Lord put him in my realm here, and his name's Sterling. And you can sure tell that boy has got he's got the cowboy way of life about him. It's something to see. Anyway, I got to spend a little time with him, and I got to help a horse out. Sterling was just fine, right? But I was able to help Sterling, show him a couple of different things about slowing down, and he did really good. And he's got a little boy. Oh my goodness, that boy's a cow puncher. He's a rodeo extraordinaire. I watched him up here at this ranch climb on a donkey, no bridle, nothing. Climb on his back. And I said, how many times you been on his back? This is the second time. Now, does that remind you of Jesus riding a donkey colt? There you are. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing up here. We're up here doing something called turkey hunting. Yep, there it is. There's that little cowpuncher I was telling you about. I can't think of his name right now. But let me tell you, that boy, he's going to make a great hand someday. But he picked up that turkey and hauled it himself. And I said, that turkey weighs almost as much as you. He says, no, I think it weighs more. I weigh 75 pounds. I think he weighs 80 pounds. But there's my buddy Rich. And you can see he's really proud of that bird. That's the one that he got yesterday. And then this morning, he got another bird this morning. So now it's the old fat guy's time to go get a bird this afternoon and tomorrow. I got a couple more days.
Awesome. That was very cool. So, Steve, I shared with folks at the very beginning, there's really only 3 things that we need from them. Share their name, where they're watching from, what the weather's like today. Ask any and every mule or donkey question that they got, and then share the broadcast with friends or family. We've got some good folks here. And I had asked Sherman Johnson, I was like, Sherman, it's Johnson Taxidermy. Is that a side hustle? Is that a hobby? Is that a full-time gig? That's his full-time gig. So I said, I think you might enjoy the pictures that Steve sent me today. I'm sure Johnson's stuffed or prepared turkey a time or two. How about that, Johnson? So that's pretty good there. Merlin is watching from northwest Minnesota, where it's cloudy with light rain and 45 degrees. Ivy is watching from a 55 and gloomy Maine. Ivy, I'm sure you're smiling and brighten it up as best you can. Let's see. Tim says, what annual vaccines should my mule have? Steve, that's a good question. We've talked about it. There's something. Is it like a rhino? Is that what we talked about? And then there's like a 4, something with a 4. Can you explain what the vaccines are that we should be looking at?
Absolutely. It's a 5-way. It's what I always suggest. And it's the Eastern Western encephalitis. It's tetanus, and it's definitely rhino. And I tell you, in some of your countries, you may want to look at. Oh shoot! I hate it when I do that. Lost name of it. When you get bit by a fox or a coyote, and a rabies shot. There it is. A rabies shot, and add rabies in there to it. And so it's all in one. That's the nice thing about it, because the more times you got to poke them with a needle, or even using the one needle, it makes it kind of tough on them. But yeah, get your 5-way. It's pretty easy to do. Remember how you want to do it. Here's your hand right here going against the shoulder of your mule. And with the hand going against the shoulder of the mule, right in here is where you want to put in your needles. And you use an 18 gauge needle, and you can get that 5-way there with at any of your feed stores and this sort of thing that handle that. Your vet shops, there's ever online that you can go online and order them up, but definitely want to get that done. I like to do all that stuff in the spring of the year. Float your teeth. I like to worm them, and I like to give them their 5-way, and that really works good.
Awesome. Thanks for the question. Appreciate that, Tim. Bill is sharing to Mules of Ohio and Mules of Indiana. It's nice, warm weather today, 75 and clear. The wind finally gave up after 2 weeks straight. Rory and me got in 5-mile ride today. They are loving it up there, enjoying that wind finally going away so they can get out there and ride. Good job. Good for you, Bill. Steve is watching, 73 degrees and sunny in Artesia, California. My place of vacation. Good to have you here again, Steve. Misty is watching from a Central Texas. Edna's watching. Hey, Edna, you're here early. Spring Hill, Florida, sunny and beautiful. Theodore says, love the hat, Steve. Yeah, there you go, Steve. Look, that's the hunting hat right there.
Well, this is actually Montana hat.
Okay? Oh, okay.
And it's Montana hat. Let me show you. You can actually pull out the earmuffs. We got this hat about 20-some years ago. A rancher gave it to me. You can pull over the earmuffs as well. You see there? You can warm up your ears. But A lot of Montanans wear this hat right here, and it's a dandy. And it was a gift from a rancher, probably 20, 25 years ago, DJ by Ranch. So anytime I come up to Montana, I make sure I got my Montana hat on.
That's awesome. What's the weather like there right now?
Well, this morning it was 28 degrees, and it's been raining actually the past 2 days. You know what that stuff is? Rain. It comes down out of the sky.
It's
It's
been a
wet.
while.
Yeah, and it's been raining and it's been snowing a little bit. There's snow on the mountains out that I can see here right now, but actually it's pretty during the day in the 50s. Been pretty pleasant. So I'll be going out again turkey hunting this afternoon for the evening hunt, and then again tomorrow morning.
That's awesome. Great. All right. Well, Tony is watching from Wisconsin. Tammy is watching from Troy, Tennessee. Warm and sunny. Let's see here. Tony says Jack Pine. What's Jack Pine?
Well, Jack pine's just a small little pine tree.
Oh.
Yeah, and it can get pretty thick in areas, and this sort of thing. But yeah, there's all kinds of pine trees, all kinds of different pines.
Awesome. She says, good luck hunting. David Pingelli watching from Manchester, Georgia, 70 degrees today, enjoying my mules. Let's see here. Tony says, oh, sorry, forgot to share. Wisconsin, 70 degrees, partly cloudy. You write that wrong there, Tony. You are forgiven forever there. Actually, forgiven until next time. The only one that can forgive forever is Jesus. Let's see here. Paulie says, my vet doesn't let us give our own rabies shot. I also give the West Nile shot. So
Yes.
Is there a reason why a vet wouldn't want them to do their own rabies?
Because it has to be registered. So every state has a registry for rabies. So if your dog bites someone, if they've had the rabies shot, then the people don't usually have to take those awful rabies shots in their stomach. So if it gets registered. The main thing is it gets registered, and that's what it is with my equine and my dog and this sort of thing. So it gets registered. He's right.
Awesome. Very good. Let's see here. Sharon is watching from Kelowna, British Columbia, which means we have gone international. Thank you, Sharon. She asked the question about a dummy foal syndrome, NMS. Steve, have you had any experience with this in donkeys and mules? And does it occur at the same frequency of 1 to 5% as it does in horses? I don't think we've ever talked about this, Steve.
Actually, we did, and it was about 5 months ago.
Okay.
And one of my clients up in Idaho, I got a phone call from the stallion for his breeding, and said that there was a possibility of that, and it can be really ugly. I've never experienced it myself, but basically the baby flops around a lot and can't hardly stand good, and it happens right off the bat because what happens is they drink the mama's colostrum, which is what they need right off the bat. And if you know ahead of time that there's a possibility of the mother having this, you can take and if it works out good, or you can buy colostrum and give it to the baby. And the colostrum, basically what it does, it helps out the immune system. Okay. And so anyway, the long story short, my friend, I can't find it. Maybe he may contact me again. My client up there in Iowa actually sent me a picture. He says, my mule's doing good, Steve. Everything's good. You told me what to watch for. Everything was going good. And he says, well, I'm going to have me a nice baby mule now.
Awesome. Thanks for the question, Sharon.
So
Tony, what's that?
It's genetics. It's a genetical problem, unfortunately. And yet a lot of times you don't find it until sometimes several years later in your breeding system,
Tony says Cromer is the best hat. So is that what that's called? Let's see here. Steven says you can get those hats from a company called Stormy Cromer in Ironwood, Michigan. There you go. That's a crown cap, Winnipeg, Canada. Hey, Steve is taking us international right here, right now. There we go. I was wondering if Steve ever attends Mule Days in Bishop, California. Steve has in the past, but it's been a lot of years since he's been out there. And of course, been to the Columbia, Tennessee Mule Days. There's a couple other, I think, Mule Days that you've been to, but I don't think you've been to Bishop in quite some time. And only do a couple of events a year now, Steve. Ain't that right?
Yep, yeah, just done two last month. One was an awesome show, Columbia Mule Days. All those guys there, hardworking people, really try hard, family oriented. Oh my goodness, it was great to see America as it should be, with family and this sort of thing. It was fantastic, and everybody people come and saw me. Pardon me, it's a little burp there. Uh, and it was great. And then of course Bishop. Yeah, I spent a lot of years at Bishop. Sure did. And started out with the Grand Canyon Pack team. We still hold um, a world record, and I've got three world record buckles. And yeah, I've been to Bishop, and it's different now. It's not like it used to be. It's I would love to say that it's improved, but it is unique to see. And when I was going, it was the real thing. I mean, you could see the packer come out of the mountains, and he put on a clean shirt and still the same jeans and went and competed. That's what they did. All they did is put on a clean shirt and away they go. And then we've seen Teamsters. We're driving like 10 at a time. But here's the thing, Dave. All of that stuff has kind of gone to seed. So when you go to Bishop, you won't see the same Bishop as what I saw in the late '80s, and this sort of thing. But it's still something to see. See a lot of mules, a lot of people.
Awesome. Merlin sent in a question. Of course, Merlin's watching right now, but sent in a question this week. Says, Steve, I know you use beta for your bridles and Breeching. Have you ever considered using it for your saddles? If not, I would like to know why. If it can be used, it would make maintenance easier for me. I thought that was an interesting question.
Well, beta doesn't come in big enough pieces to do anything with a saddle as far as saddle goes. We went for Dura, which is we use the 2100 Lear, which is the heaviest fabric that you can get. I love it, but I don't know where I would really use beta in a saddle. As far as like even a seat, there's not big enough. I think 2.5 inches is as wide as you can get, but I do use beta on my bridles, breechings, breast collars, reins, um, perforated neoprene, and cordura on my cinches. But other than that, buddy, that's about all. You can't get it in big enough sheets to do any good.
All right, Merlin. So your homework assignment is to create a beta that comes in these massive sheets, and then we'll talk. So you come back
Cowhide.
to us when you got that there, Merlin. That'd be good. We'd
That's
like
right.
that.
It's got to
Got
be
another question.
cowhide, like hide sheets,
What'd you say?
as big as a cowhide.
Big as a cowhide, Merlin. We're counting on you. The Ask Steve show, Queen Valley Mule Ranch. Really the world at this point, Merlin. We're counting on you, and
We're
we need
watching
you to
you.
come through. Had a question come in from a new friend on YouTube. Says, thank you for providing these educational videos. I'm doing research on the differences between mules and horses. I do have a question. I hope you can answer. It's a bit off topic. Over the years, I have come across a few riders wearing their spur strap buckles to the inside. What's the benefit, or is it just a preference? I spent a day researching and could not find the answer last year, and it's still bugging me that I don't know. Chiming in from California. Have you seen that, Steve?
Oh yeah. Well, your working cowboy is going to have them on the inside simply because it's easier to buckle that way. All right. That's the simplest reason. It's easier to reach down here and buckle on the inside, and on the outside is usually wide leather, And sometimes what we all do is we put our brands on it. But the main reason for doing buckles on the inside is for the ease of putting on spurs. Now, not step on any toes or anything, all right? But if you're a dude, you're a cowboy that likes to be a cowboy on the weekends, that's when you put your hat on Friday night and you take it off on Sunday afternoon, then you'll understand this. And I'm not to be mean, is that they like to have that shiny buckle on the outside for looks only. If you get it caught and brushed and get it hung up and stuff, it'll make that shiny buckle pretty ugly, you know. But they do it to the inside simply because it's the easiest way. And I'm going to tell you, the majority of us never take our spurs off our boots. Uh, I have different spurs for different things that I want to do. A longer spur, you know, for when I got a fatter mule. I got what's called a lady leg spur, which is kind of a gooseneck. They also call it, and it's shaped like a lady's leg, you know, and that's so you can reach up and catch one's belly. And then I've got a short one too. Anyway, I've got a lot of different spurs, but they're meant to be used according to the mule and what you are doing. Okay, the type of rowel and this sort of thing. But the short of the whole story is this: uh, the spurs stay on my boots all the time, and when I slip them on, I slip on boot and all, and that way I don't have to unbuckle them because I'm lazy.
All right. Hope that's a good answer there for you. And I want to let you all know that on muleranch.com, if you just sign up for an account, free account, you don't got to purchase anything, free account. We've got a great webinar in there where Steve went through all sorts of things that you will want to know about spurs. So just go to muleranch.com. Click the account button or the sign in. I think it's in the upper right hand corner. And once you log in, you go to the video library. There's a bunch of videos that we just preload in there. Y'all can check them out. And they're really educational. They're a lot of fun. And I think you'll be real happy with what you find there. Of course, if you purchase any videos from muleranch.com, they'll be in there as well. Next question. This one came in from Christina. Says, we just got a mule a few days ago. She was just weaned, and the lady I got her from said give a little grain each day as well. She has fresh hay and salt, but anything else that I should be giving a newly weaned mule?
I don't mind a little grain, okay, for a newly weaned mule or for your yearlings, you know, and this sort of thing. Uh, you just want to be careful of what happens when you feed grain. Is it tend to make them kind of silly, and you want to be really careful with that. Um, and what I mean by silly, they can get pretty serious to where they can rear up and hurt you, spin and kick you, things like this, because grain makes them like kids with a candy fly off the walls. And so in order for a mule to have grain, he has to have a serious job. So a little bit of grain is good. Nothing. Uh, uh, you want to feed. You don't want to feed a sweet feed. Okay, so you don't want to have anything with any type of syrup in it and this sort of thing. They use that for binders a lot, but I like to use a crimped oat. It's worked good. It works really good. Do not feed them by hand, or you'll end up missing some fingers. But yeah, good suggestion. Make sure the biggest thing with your babies is make sure that you keep them trimmed and balanced. That's how you have straight legs on a mule. Okay. That's how you should have straight legs on a donkey or even a horse. Okay. So make sure they're trimmed and balanced every 4 to 6 weeks. Keep close eye on them. After about 3 years is when you want to start with your dental work. But other than that, make sure you treat them like an equine. Okay. Now, David Scholl is the top breeder in Australia, and he has all of his babies separate in a corral and out running around. He's able to maintain them, and he said the main reason he does it is just so that they have respect for him, and he's exactly right. I don't know if we have any video of Dave with his babies or not. But anyway, so, folks, what you don't want to do is have your babies go out and run and play in big pastures and stuff. Keep them short. Keep them in small pens, like 20 by 20. That way you can keep an eye on their health. You can watch their manure. It's really important to tell how healthy they are by watching the manure. It's really important to see how much water they're drinking. And your babies, I never, ever, ever tie my babies up tight. Okay, it's the best way they can pull ligaments and muscles and things like this. So you want to be really careful with your babies. Only use the come along hitch. Don't use a nylon halter, and don't adjust a rope halter for them. Use the come along hitch to pretty much do everything that you need to do.
So we've got video. I need to have it. I've got several that we've talked about in the past, all just queued up and ready to go. But I don't think I have that one. I'll have that queued up because we reference it enough that it would be good to have it on demand. Yeah, I don't see it here. I'll find it and I'll get it queued up. We'll have that for future ones. I did put a link to Vail Farm Mules. That's David and Di Scholl. They operate through their Facebook page, and so you can reach out to them. He posts occasionally on his Facebook page, but that's a good way to connect with him if you've got further questions. Matter of fact, we've got a friend who is watching from Australia. David Scholl will be a great resource for you. That'll be our next question. But yeah, you can click that link in the comment section. That'll take you to David Scholl, Vail Farm Mules, and you can get more information there. Linda is watching from a sunny and 62 calm area. The girls had a spa day today. Ooh, sounds good. I need me a spa day. That's on the agenda for you tomorrow, right, Steve?
Yeah, it's going to be 28 degrees tomorrow morning on the side of that mountain.
So that's Steve Edwards' spa day. Leslie is watching from Decatur, Illinois. A beautiful spring day. Good to hear from you, Leslie. Glad you're here. Andrew, here's our next question. Yes, it is from Australia. We've gone international again. How do I measure what saddle size I need to buy for my mule and my partner as we live in Australia and are looking to buy one? And the first thing, Andrew, is that when you're picking out the saddle size, it's really not the saddle size, it's the seat size. So maybe some other manufacturers will size out their saddles, but the Steve Edwards saddle is designed to fit the skeleton, the bone structure of the donkey. And of course, the mule gets his bone structure from the donkey. And so it's not muscle mass. It's not the way that they are in spring versus the way they are in winter. If you measure it in the summer and then you go to put it on in the winter, or you go to put it on late winter, early spring, it's going to be two different animals. So first off, the saddle is designed to fit the skeletal structure. So what you're talking about, what you really want to know is what seat size am I meant to get? And I think it's 14, 15, 16, and 17 inch. It comes down to the size of not your rump. It does not come down to the size so much of your weight. It really comes down to your thigh size. Steve, you want to pick up where I leave off there and fill in the blanks?
I need to fill in the blanks, Dave. You hit them all there. I mean, it's right there, right on the money. You have to remember that your seat sizes is an industrial standard. So it makes no difference what saddle you set in. It still has so much length from the horn to the cantle, and that determines your seat size. As far as with the mules and donkeys, I have a 19-inch bar that sets on the animal's back, and that 19-inch bar pretty much fits does fit every single mule, short back, long back, and this sort of thing, and does great for saddles up to 17 inches. But otherwise, Dave, you hit the nail right on the head, man. You did good. Thank you.
So I was looking for the link. I'm going to put a link in the comments here. It's our Mastering the Saddle Fit Mule and Donkey Training course. Let me get the link. Sorry, I was trying real hard to get it pulled up there before you were done answering, Steve.
Hey, I like your hats you got there.
You like that?
That's a
There we go.
dandy. Yeah.
American Mule and Bluegrass Festival, nothing but the best. Marty Ray doing
Yes.
it out there year after
That,
year after year.
that's right.
Mule Saddle Training Course. This is a great program. It's got 13 videos. It's got several hours of content, and it's going to walk you through pretty much everything you need to know about the saddle fit. And then in addition, I put a link in the comment section to a video of Steve showing, like a physical demonstration of Steve showing really how you want to measure for that saddle size. And of course, you can call Steve and talk to him directly, 602-999-6853. And he can help you out, make sure you get the right size as well. But it's incredible. Didn't ever think we'd be able to sell a saddle without someone sitting in it, and now it's a rare occasion when someone sits in the saddle before they buy it. They get them all over the world and they love them, and we'd be happy to get another one out there to Australia for you, Andrew. So thank you for the question and giving us a chance to talk about it. Tim says, Friday when I rode, my Molly walked out fine. Then Saturday, she didn't want to walk. It felt like her muscles in her back around her hips were tightening up. A friend said she might be in heat. Could that be a problem?
Oh yeah, they definitely changed their stride when they're. This is spring, so spring is sprung, and so coming into the breeding season for every organism that God had created is coming up. So yes, it is a good possibility. Are you shoeing the mule all the way around? That's one question, because sometimes if you only shoe the front end only and don't shoe the back end, then they don't drive off their hindquarters as well as they should.
Awesome. Thanks for the question there. Appreciate that, Tim. Next question. Tony says, are mules accessible to EPM as well? What's EPM, Steve?
Yeah, it's unfortunately it's possums urinate and poop on the hay, and yes, it is yes, they're very tuned in to getting that EPM. And the best thing you all can do is cover your hay with plastic. Uncover it when you need to let it air and this sort of thing, because when them buggers urinate or poop on that stuff. And here's some of the problem too is that's the downside of hay is hay. You can even have them urinate or poop on the hay when they're making it up, when they're baling it out there, and it can be a problem as well. But yeah, it's one of the diseases that you get from hay.
All right. Okay, next question. This one came in from Uncle Fur. I love that name, Uncle Fur. What are the different types of mules? For example, a draft horse bred with a donkey, will it be different than one bred from a quarter horse?
Oh yeah, well yeah, you betcha, because you're talking, one thing is bone difference. If you breed for, let's say, a Belgian, you can use your sire, your stud could very well be a standard donkey, or it could even be a mammoth. Mammoth is preferred, but I also may say this while at this point right here is that your AI, artificial insemination, not artificial intelligence. Artificial insemination is the best way to breed for a mule. Okay. And depends on what you want. Now, got to remember that if you're going to breed to a Belgian, then you're going to have a Belgian breeding. What's that for? It's for pulling wagons, for doing farm work. Can you ride them? Yes, but they are big around to put your legs around. That's usually my people that are 300 pounds or so. I would put on a Percheron, a Belgian, a Shire, and this sort of thing because of the big bone. The downside is this, folks, is that they still have tendons, and it's still like getting a flat tire when you get a bowed tendon, and which we saw in that fantastic webinar that Dave put on last week. That was, wow, he did a great job of that. I'm sure you all, if you didn't see that webinar last week of preparing for the riding for the summer. Dave did an excellent job with questions and putting things together. It was pretty incredible. But we also talked about some of the basic meds. But let's go back. The breeding. Remember, if you want a trail riding animal and you're going to be trail riding, you want to breed for that. Because here's the thing. If you're breeding a quarter horse, you got a high hip and they're meant to be kind of downhill to work cattle. Okay. That's what they're done. But the downside is when you and I are riding a 6-8 hour a day up and down mountains, we don't need to be standing way back in the saddle all this time with that hip in the back pushing ahead. I even develop a special pad for the downhill hip because we're breeding so many quarter horses. So what am I looking for? I want to look for a mother that is number one, good disposition. Disposition first. Okay, the next part, okay, is conformation. So you want to have one that's balanced. Watch them when they're walking around out there in the pasture or in the corrals. How balanced are they? Top of the hip, top of the wither, top of the head. How balanced are they? They're balanced, okay, already because of the way they are made up. That makes for a great trail horse, okay? Then also makes for making a great trail mama for mules as well. So yeah, you're breeding. If you breed according to your need. How about that?
Awesome. That's great. I was taking notes, copious notes. Tony says, thank you so much. I appreciate your advice. Folks, I do have a few more questions, but if you have not taken the time to ask yours yet, go ahead, put them in there, and we should be able to get to it before we are all done. Flip sent in a pretty involved question, so we'll do our best to answer it. He says, I'll most likely be getting a couple Jennies soon. I have a 3/4 acre paddock that's sand, short grass, weeds, and a few oak trees. Should I stall them at night or leave them in the paddock 24/7? Now, I can answer that for you, Flip. Keep them in their stall all the time unless you're working them, unless you're training with them, unless you're riding. Keep them in the stall. We talk about that earlier on in this program. From my understanding, donkeys need the least nutritionally dense hay. Would coastal hay suffice? And do I need to limit their access to it? So let's answer that real quick, Steve. What would you say about this nutritionally dense hay and the need?
No, you need nutrition for any of these. Here's the thing. How do you know? It may be coastal hay, it may be Timothy hay, maybe grass hay, maybe rye, I don't know. But until you get a test on it, until I like to take a tube, like about a 1-inch tube, and make a point on the end of it. You can do it uh, with plastic pipe PVC, and you can put a handle on it, and you can shove it into a bale of hay and pull it out. Take it into your maybe some of your colleges or maybe your mills. Maybe be able to test it and tell you exactly what's in that hay. Just because it's hay doesn't mean it's going to be everything that your mule and donkey needs. Your nutritional program is the second most important part of that donkey and mule's life. The first part is its vitamins, its minerals, its teeth floating, it's getting the Eastern Western encephalitis shots, your 5-way shots as well. All that is important. But your next part is your diet. That's really, really important because if they are not sound in their teeth and they're worming and this sort of thing, you can feed them all the good grub in the world. It ain't gonna do them a lot of good. But your coastal hay is good. But the reason you put them in small pens, and Dave will tell you this. In fact, I'll just let Dave tell you. Why do you put them in small pens, Dave?
You put them in the small pen for lots of reasons, but in this particular reason, so you know exactly what they're eating, you know exactly how much they're eating, you know exactly what's in what they're eating, you know how much they're drinking, and then you can monitor the poop and the pee, and you want to see nice, shiny, green road apples. That's what you want to look for there. And if they're out in pasture, you miss out on all of that. and you don't know how much they're eating. You may have an idea of what they're getting, but you really don't know. And on top of the nutritional, and you can't monitor the intake and what's coming in and what's going out. So there's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't do that nutritionally. But then on top of all that, it's not good for you and your leadership to have them out there.
Yeah, and that's another good point right there, Dave. The leadership. You're exactly hit the nail on the head, buddy. Good for you. Good, hit it all good. There, mule guy.
So the next thing he says, a friend who owned donkeys said she trimmed their hooves herself. Is this typical, or do they need a professional farrier? And if so, how often?
Every 4 to 6 weeks. Donkeys you want to keep short because they tend to their foot tends to shrink, and you end up with lots of different problems. I wish more people would trim their donkeys. And really, if you can understand what flat is, you can look off your cell phone and say, okay, that's flat. Well, that's what you want to do with your donkey's hoof. You want to trim it with your nippers, with a rasp and this sort of thing, and do it. You do not have to have a professional uh, shoer unless you're doing some problems. Okay, you got contracted heels. Yes, then you need your shoer to make shoes to fix that contracted heel. So things like this is to consider when it comes down to this. But you should be able to trim and balance and there's this sort of thing. The average horses, donkey's foot with ease, unless it's really long. Then you may deal with some things. Now, look, the other thing is too, even shoers make mistakes. All right, and if you trim it a little too short, you end up bleeding a little bit. It's okay. That's why they have iodized crystals. The little iodized crystal on there, put a match on it. It sears it, and you're done. You won't have any other problem. But yeah, go ahead and trim your own donkey's feet. Absolutely.
He said the next question is, and are there any minerals I should provide? And this got me thinking. We get folks asking a lot about a mineral block, if we should just get a mineral block and put it out there. And I seem to remember you saying that they just need a good salt block. A mineral block's a waste of money because you don't know what they're proficient and deficient in when it comes to vitamins and minerals. So I know that's something that we've talked about. Is there anything else that they need to be thinking about? Is it really just mules can't stand prosperity and looking at that?
No, not really, because your vitamins and minerals are your biggest mystery of your feed. And it's just like you and I. When we go to the doctor and we get our annual yearly exam, and they do a blood test, and then they tell you, okay, Steve, hey, you're this close to being diabetic, or hey, you got this, that, and the other. They can tell you by that blood. Okay. And so therefore, what would you do? Call your vet out, have them do a blood test on it. They can tell you exactly what you're short on. Okay. And then you can make sure that you get the proper vitamins and minerals, because your hay does not supply all the vitamins and minerals that they need. Now, David's right. He hit the nail on the head. Okay. The article Mules Can't Stand Prosperity, when you read at the end of it, you'll see some ingredients there. And those ingredients is what I have found that works good for the average mule and donkey in training. Get that in your mind? In training. You want to feed according to what they're doing. Okay. You don't want to be going to a smorgasbord eating every day. If you do, you are going to be putting on the pounds. But let's go back. It's that's what happens when you go out on the path. When you take and uh, get your ingredients tested, that's in your hay. And remember now, just because you bought it out of this one field, don't mean you can go back and buy it in the same field and have the same type of hay, because as you have the first cutting, second cutting, third cutting, rains and things like this, that hay does change. So my suggestion, if you can afford it, if you can, make sure that you got hay for the whole year. If you got hay for the whole year, you pretty much can plan on a consistent diet for your equine. Now, why is that important? Because all equine are subject to grass founder, to colic, and things like this. Okay. And when you change feed quick too aggressively, you got a good possibility of having a colic problem that could cause death to your animal. So consider that when you are feeding, don't just throw them a flake of hay. Especially if some of you out there are trainers, you need to make sure you're feeding according to the training that you're doing with them.
Is a really good question. And
Yeah.
then he says, besides, let's see here. Oh, last one. Best size or type of stock tank for water in the paddock.
Okay. Again, I don't put my animals out in a paddock. Okay. 30 gallons is pretty much an average for the average paddock out there with a float on it. What I have for each one of my mules is a plastic 55-gallon barrel that's cut down where it's about 12 inches high. And I can roughly put about 20 gallons in there to 25 gallons with a float on it. And this is important, you all. It's important that you water your animals, but you keep the water clean, fairly clean. All right, it's really important, and you can do that a lot of different ways. You want to make sure you have it clean, and when you're getting ready to ride, one of the reasons I like a smaller water container like that is I'm going to be doing a lot of riding. I want electrolytes in my mule and donkey. They need electrolytes in order to get through the day. Without it, just water alone is not enough to keep up their energy levels and this sort of thing. Just like you and I, I do electrolytes every single day to keep my maintenance for my body so that I've got enough moisture to maintain. You need to do the same thing with your mules and donkeys. And why is that? Because mules and donkeys are very uh, careful about what they eat and drink, but especially what they drink. If they smell chlorine in it from like when you go to some city and they have chlorine in the water and this sort of thing, or if they smell something unique, they won't be quite susceptible to wanting to go there and drink water, and they will dehydrate themselves. Probably the biggest killer of mules and donkeys is dehydration. So I suggest putting some electrolytes in there. You could buy electrolytes. Dave, in that fantastic webinar that we did last week, we gave some examples of some electrolytes that you can buy, 5-gallon pails, and put it in there. And I strongly suggest you all, if you're going to be riding, you make sure you got electrolytes in your animals.
All right, we're getting close to the end. We got one more question. This one comes from Tony. She says, is your preference a breeching or a crupper? Please, ideal breast collar needed in either two. So I can answer the first question, breeching or crupper. So if you're driving, crupper is fine, but if you're riding, breeching all the way. And the reason why is because the tail, it's just bone right there, and the muscle is not designed to bear the amount of weight that's going to wind up being put on that tail if you're in the saddle. And so the breeching distributes the weight. The breeching is adjustable, so you can adjust it based upon the elevation and the terrain that you're going on, up or down. Your mule, your donkey will thank you. So never a crupper. Matter of fact, Steve's talked numerous times about folks who have used a crupper and wound up breaking the tail of their animal and having to put them down. Breeching all the way.
Yep, very good, Dave. You hit the nail on the head, buddy. It's exactly right. The tail crupper is designed to hold the back of the harness straps back to keep the breeching from climbing up the hip. That's its only reason. You start using a tail crupper on your mule and it starts getting sore. Then one day you loosen up the tail crupper. Now it's loose. the mule puts his tail up in the air, that tail crupper gets it here, and it breaks off the tail, and you end up with a broken back. And one of the saddest days I've ever had is when I had a lady call me and said, I wish I'd listened to you. The baby, the 3-year-old that she had raised, she wanted me to put a tail crupper ring in the saddle, and I said I would not do that. I don't put that on any of my saddles. No mule should have to go through that. And she says, okay, I'll buy the saddle and put it on myself, which she did. Anyway, long story short, she ended up killing her baby. Well, she killed it inadvertently. So what had happened was this. She had the sword the mule, and so she loosened it up, and then the tail crupper went up and broke the tail, and she had to put it down. So it's sad, folks. But listen, your breeching adjusts according to your terrain. It holds back all your weight and all the way to the saddle, and it's perfect. In your breast collar, it's important that you do not have a breast collar that is hard rigged into the saddle. So if you've got rings on the saddle, you don't want to put it in there. We've got some different videos on it. Matter of fact, on our breast collar video, saddle breast collars, we got a video right there demonstrating the breast collar, don't we?
Yeah, and it's in the Mastering the Saddle Fit Mule and Saddle training course as well. So we show in that, and it's free. You can get it free on the website. I'll put a link in the comment section. But you can see where what's it called? Is it called a fixed collar? Is that the other one?
Well,
a pulling collar.
Pulling collar is very good. That's exactly the name of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Steve shows what a pulling collar winds up doing to the saddle, and ultimately how it causes damage to the animal versus Steve's breast collar, which has a pommel strap and allows for a more fluid movement, and it moves with the chest of the animal as opposed to stepping into the breast collar on both. So I'll put a link in the comment section here before we're all done. But Steve, that's everything we've got for today. I think I want to let you get back to hanging out with your friends there and enjoying the great state of Montana.
Yeah, boy. Well, I'm going to be here till Thursday, and then we jump on an airplane and back down to Arizona in about 2.5 hours. It's amazing. But Ron Den says hi to you, and he says he really enjoys the shows. He said, be sure to let Dave know. I had a lot of people tell me this, Dave, so everybody give Dave a big hand. This last webinar he did was absolutely fantastic. And if you need to learn anything at all, if you watch that webinar and listen to the basic things, it'll help you get through your trail riding. Good job, Dave.
Awesome. Thanks. I appreciate that. I put a link in the comment section early on. We did a call with Ron. We did a show with Ron a couple of years back. It was a lot of fun. Just shared his adventures of working a operational ranch. It was real good. And that's real good. Well, tell him I said hello. Ron, if you're watching, I say hello. It is good to hear from you. I'm glad that Steve is able to get out there. Folks, that's it for today. Really appreciate you taking the time. We know you could do a lot of different things. The fact that you're here really does mean a lot. I say it every week because every week it's true. If you go to muleranch.com and sign up for a free account on that website, you can go to the My Account section, log in. You're going to find a whole bunch of great videos when you log in. We just preload them into your library. Don't hesitate to reach out if you've got additional questions. But get there, go to My Account and Orders, create a free account, check it out. I'll be adding this Spring Clean webinar there this week, and so that one will be available in there for free. Steve, anything you want to say before we're all done?
No, we're good. Hey, happy trails to everybody. Keep smiling.
All right. God bless everyone. Take care. We'll see you real soon. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.